Jahiem White's not going to be handed his job as the starting running back, according to Rich Rodriguez. And hell, he may not even have a spot, according to Rich Rod. They're looking in the portal for all I know. It's crazy in Morgantown right now.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's try this again. What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. We're talking about the West Virginia Mountaineers football team again today as practice rolls through to Friday. Finally, a little break for our guys, maybe. What we're going to do on this episode is, by the way, this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Game Time. Right now, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. So what we're going to do on this episode, though, is we're going to talk about the statement from Rich Rodriguez about Jahiem White. Is it serious? Should it be taken serious? Or is it just laughable? We'll look at why he might have said it, have some theories about that. And also, can we just say that these press conferences have been very, very, very entertaining, right? Way better than anything Neil Brown put out for sure. So we're going to look at, I've got a compilation of, there were 3 press conferences today. Travis Trickett, Rod West, Rich Rodriguez all had stuff to say. I've got that all pretty well condensed down into 3, into one paragraph, not one paragraph, but bullet points. So we'll check that out too. And, I want to look at the competition in the running back room a little bit closer. Obviously we've looked at it, but this is the dog days of camp, guys. We're going to get into topics that, we've talked about before. So, but I'm excited to talk about them. I mean, I never get tired of it. I don't know about you guys. So, all right. So let's play the clip from Rich Rodriguez first. Let's hope to God that the channel doesn't go haywire again like it did last time.
Position battles and no one's really distinguished besides Jahiem, I guess.
Yeah, what? He's in a battle too.
Well,
did you give him a spot?
So if you didn't hear that, let's hear it one more time.
Like this when you're in so many position battles and no one's really distinguished besides Jahiem, I guess.
Yeah, what? He's in a battle too.
Well,
did you give him a spot?
So you see that little smile at the end, right? I think at the end of the day, yeah, he's messing with Osti a little bit there. No doubt about it. Definitely. Jahiem White's a starter, y'all. Look, if Jahiem White's not the first back to tote the rock, one of 2 things has happened. He's either academically ineligible or he's hurt. That's it. If he's healthy, he totes the rock first against Robert Morris. That said, I do think there's a chance that I think we have a room that's good enough that he could lose his job. And that's the case I'm going to make today is if Jahiem White doesn't bring it like he's been bringing it, as you can see here with this picture, I mean, look what he's come from this to this. It's a pretty stark contrast, right? I mean, this kid's put in the work, no doubt about it, 100%. But I want to talk about the other guys in the room a little bit. We're going to look at some tape as always. That's what we do here, right? We talk about tape. Dior Hubbard is a guy, right? You look at what he did during the spring game. I mean, he absolutely crushed it. Was the breakout star of the spring game. You could definitely make the case. Had a great spring game. So, I think we're lucky to have him. Certainly, he's one of those guys that I'm not overlooking. It's just that there's not a ton of tape out on him as far as from a West Virginia perspective. So I've looked for it before we came on here today, didn't find it. If you look at the real roost of Jalen Knighton, obviously he's got some stuff out. Love this picture of him, by the way. he's a kid that I really like a lot, and definitely if he's 100% healthy, look out Jahiem White, because this kid is probably, I would say, as talented as Jahiem. He's in that same ballpark, right? I mean, that's not even crazy to say. I mean, just for your viewing pleasure, how about 95 yards in the ACC last year right here? And this is a similar play that you're going to run in Rich Rod's offense, right? A little bit of read concept. I mean, the quarterback had the option to keep that, but everybody's blocked. But I mean, you can see Jalen squirts through there, outruns the safety, and he's gone. And he's got the speed to burn to get down the sidelines quickly. You don't think this is a dude that can really get some yardage going in Rich Rod's offense? I think it is for sure. He's definitely dynamite. What about for Miami? What did he do there?
Rooster ready to throw. Rooster took a hit and keeps going. 90.
I mean, what a play from Knighton when he was at Miami. I mean, look at the speed against North Carolina here.
And a man miss. Knighton will take it the distance for Miami.
So he's a dude, right? We know he is. Like, he's definitely in the race and has got a shot to.
It's a foot race. And how about Jalen Knighton? It's a foot race. Who's going to get him? Knighton inside the 10. It's a 95-yard touchdown scamper. He been running hard all night.
So there's obviously that going on, right, with Jalen Knighton. So he's a guy that I definitely think has got a shot to be damn good. Hold on, guys. My mom's calling me over and over and over here. Okay, sorry. I mean, hopefully it's not an emergency, but anytime my phone lights up and it says my mom, she's like 4 or 5 times in a row here. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that for a sec. Okay. So obviously he's a big deal, right? That's a guy that I think is definitely, I mean, no doubt about it. He's a guy that can give Jahiem a run. Ty Edwards is, without a freaking doubt, a contender in the room, but unfortunately, he's not even practicing right now. And we get reports today that they were all there. They were at practice today, but they were watching from the sidelines. So our buddy Ty Edwards, unfortunately, is left in Northern Iowa memory lore here at, let's see it again, 21 miles an hour. Not bad, right? I mean, that's pretty cool. And, this is what I love about this is also a very similar run to what you see at West Virginia, right? I mean, he's reading that at the end as well. Could he have kept it? I don't know. But, I mean, what I love about Edwards is he's pretty business with it. I mean, he makes his cut and he's up the field. He's gone. And, I mean, he's got enough wheels to where he can really, really go. So surely to goodness, here he is at West Virginia finding the end zone. I mean, was this during the spring game? May have been, but obviously this is a guy that you have to consider as a contender for that starting job. No doubt about that. And then last but not least, of course, we're going to talk about my guy Sincere Bowers. We're not going to stay on him very long, but I've been telling you guys this. I really do believe this is the most talented running back room we've had at West Virginia. And when's the last time we had a room this good? Trying to think back and not be recency bias here. I mean, the Jahiem White, C.J. Donaldson room is pretty good, but it's only 2 guys. So, that's a good room for sure. And they were both young. and neither one could stay healthy. So that's another thing with Jahiem, his health, right? But what about trying to think back? Because Dana never really cared as much about running backs, and we had some good ones. We had Crawford, we had Wellington. Was it Wellington? We had a couple guys, right? Wellington Smith, was that his name? Was Wendell Smallwood? Why do I call him one? Why am I calling him Wellington Smith? Wendell Smallwood. Sorry, guys, my brain went numb for a second. Obviously, Smallwood was a really good player. Letty Brown was a good player for Neil Brown. But I mean, overall, are they as talented as these guys? I don't think so. I think individually, these guys are as talented as any guy we named here. And then you get to Sincere Bowers, who, by the way, if you can't see, he reposted my video. Let's go back and check that out really quick, just for fun. Yeah. Sincere Bowers reposting our video, right, that we made the other day about him, that Eugene Napoleon thinks he could be our biggest weapon. By the way, I'm still going to reach out to Eugene today and ask him about that. But, so we love Sincere, obviously, on this channel, and believe that I think he's got a special future in Morgantown, and could certainly be our biggest running back weapon. And here's another thing I want you guys to know today. Here's how big of a secret they want to keep him, in my opinion. This is just my opinion, and I'm nobody. But whenever the media went to practice today, I spoke to a few guys. Sincere Bowers wasn't there. He didn't even play. Now, I know from talking to other people, he practiced today. Yeah, Noel Devine, but that's just one guy, Adkins. Thomas. So I'm talking about a full, at least 3 guys, right? 2-3 guys, even 2 guys. But I mean, when's the last time we had 4 guys this good? I don't think people realize how good Dior Hubbard is. I don't think guys realize how good Ty Edwards definitely is. But I mean, even if it's just Sincere Bowers, Jalen Knighton, and Jahiem White, Cannon Katzer, and then Clay Ash is right there on the end of that. But I'm told today that they hid Sincere Bowers. They didn't let the media see him at practice. I don't think they want any film to get out on him. I think they want people to just be hit like out of nowhere on this kid. And that, I mean, as you can see here, I think, he's one of those kids. Like I can't wait till he carries the rock. I'm going to be jumping up and down on my bed or wherever I'm at when I see this the first time, because I've hyped him up so much at this point. But yeah, so let me know. I'm going to get stuck on it if I keep talking about just him, but because I'm so confident in my prediction about him. But, obviously, so Jaheim's got a lot of competition here. So I think Rich Rod was half joking with what he said, but I don't think he was all the way joking, you guys. I was thinking about this yesterday and today, and I almost did a video on it yesterday, but I really don't think he was joking 100%. I don't think he was serious 100% either. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think that Jahiem White is earning his spot. I think it's, he's got the edge for sure. But don't sit here and pretend like for even a second that this kid has got it locked up with the guys that you have in that room to compete with. And especially if Ty Edwards comes back, that's an even bigger threat. Ty Edwards scares me for Jahiem more than anybody, probably, because I think he's the kind of running back that Rich Rod would, because I think he's a guy that you can give it to over and over and over again. He's just in incredible shape from what I understand. And if you go look at like the carries per game he had at Northern Iowa, like, let me go see really quick. Let's see, Trey Edwards, stats. Okay, so let's see. So I said Trey Edwards. I meant Ty. All right. So many rushes he had there. I seem to remember it being quite a few. All right. Another Florida guy, by the way. Just a little food for thought on that. But let me see. That's not shown up there. Let me see if I can go to ESPN and get it. All right. So I think he probably averaged right around. Let me see. Let me do the math really quick. Carries over 12 games equals what? So I think it was probably right around. We're going to find out here in just a second. Okay, that's what I thought. So he was getting around 15 to 18 touches a game when he was at Northern Iowa. So, and I mean, he had several games where he had like 20 plus touches. But I mean, that's quite a few in this day and age. Like it didn't used to be. 30 used to be a lot, right? But nowadays it's like it's just things have changed. So I think he's a guy that you can rely on a lot. You can definitely on a couple different drives, you can just keep giving it to him. Boom, 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 which is what Rich Rod really needs out of a running back. He needs a guy that doesn't get tired, that you can continuously hand the ball to. I mean, that's truly like a big thing in this offense. They've been talking about it all day during the press conference too. Let's go to break really quick. We'll come right back and talk about a couple other things I want to mention from the press conference. I'm going to go over the list of things, causes, concerns, that kind of stuff that they had to say in today's press conference. We'll be right back here on Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by none other than Game Time. And look, Game Time is where it's at. It's what we do. And we've been there before, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. I know I've been there. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, so you can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. And if you're tired of the endless scrolling to find the best deal, Game Time's Zone Deals pick is the best for you when you want the best seats for you. With Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay. There's no hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply for this, but if you create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off today. Download the Game Time app where you can get last-minute tickets for the lowest prices. That's guaranteed. And you answer yourself the question of questions. What time is it? It's game time. In segment 2, let's crack open a do and talk about what they had to say. Obviously they're only 3-4 days in to practice and everything now. So, taking some things at face value. But Rich Rod said today the team showed improved focus and execution during practice, and it seemed like they were recommitted to refining the details. He said they were in shells today, which was like shoulder pads and shorts, which means they can thud. Difference in tackling. Thudding is just boom, that initial hit, you don't go to the ground, right? So obviously that allows for more effective work compared to non-contact sessions. It boosts physicality, really, it does. Players are learning to balance aggressive play with smart techniques like using thud, like we talked about just now. Downfield blocking emphasis. Obviously, this is something that you don't really think about a lot as a probably casual fan. But in Rich Rod's offenses in the past, the best teams that they've had really good wide receiver blocking. Y'all, it's extremely important. I'm talking about code red alert. Important. You need those Hines Ward type players that can really get their face dirty and block. You know, Bryce Ward Week would have been good for this crew. He was a great blocking wide receiver. Jaden Bray, I think, is going to be good. Justin Smith Brown is big enough to be a pretty good blocker. So we got to have that. And, you know, like the best running teams have wide receivers that can block corners. Everywhere across the board, you ever find a good running team, their wide receivers block. He's talked about emphasizing effort over technique. And this is something that Coach Trickett also talked about. You know, having strong effort is much more important than having good technique. Both are important, but effort sometimes will outdo technique, right? So he said they go so fast that when they huddle, it's a trick play, and they actually do have it as a trick play. I found that made me laugh. The fact that when Rich Rodriguez huddles, it's a trick play. That's extremely funny to me because I remember like in the past, like they do have some funny things they do with that. He said the team needs to improve overall efficiency, including the running backs learning to find creases in the offensive scheme. So it seems like guys are trying to kind of struggling to figure out what's what, you know, as far as like obviously every offensive line is different. Every offensive line blocks different. Creases are going to open up a little different from each line, that kind of thing. So the running backs are still learning that. There is a rhythm to it. As you go, it gets better. Obviously, one of the things that he let loose today, which I think is something you hear him say separately, but to hear him put together makes a lot of sense. He said that every day they grade loafs and softs. Loafs and softs. Guys, we got to get that on a shirt or a hat. Loafs and softs, right? If you're loafing or if you're soft, that gets graded separately, those two categories, or both if you're in both, right? If you're loafing or if you're soft, they write it down, right? Or in a play or throughout a day. I'm not exactly sure how they determine it. I mean, if you're loafing or you're soft on one play by their estimation, I'm sure that doesn't mean you were loafing or soft for the day. So maybe they just do it. They might have, like, I wouldn't put it past them to track. Actually, I know they track every play now that I think about it. So most likely, you know, because there's so many extra coaches, right? You can have a coach assigned to each player. There's only 22 at the time. There's more coaches than players right now. Like not all together, but on the field at one time, right? So you can give a coach each player and determine, like, was his effort there? Check. Was he soft on that play? Check or not check. Or did he give max effort and was he hard edge? It'd probably be easier. You check them off. And then was the technique sound? No. You know, so like you can go over it with each guy, right? Okay, you know, and then you have diagrammed out what plays you ran. So on X play, listen, man, you gave a lot of effort on that play. You were not soft on that play, but your technique was off, right? You kind of your first step was blah blah blah, or your second step was blah blah blah, and they have tape, so they can go back over this stuff and say, hey, look, man, earlier today when I told you this, that, or the other, actually, man, it was a little bit worse, or actually it was a little bit better than I thought. And on your second step, you kind of didn't do this with the O line, or man, Sincere, you could have hit that crease, but you're just not trusting yourself. You're not trusting your eyes yet in this offense. Once you get more comfortable, you'll hit those creases, right? So I think overall you can grade loaf, soft, technique, all that stuff. And it's very, very what I told you guys, some people have told me that were here from Neil Brown compared to Rich Rod, how it's a total different philosophy, how it's way harder edge, how it's much more intense. I still believe that Neil Brown has a way that can work somewhat because it worked at Troy, right? I do think that he learned a lot at West Virginia. Not to get off track, but just I've been thinking about Neil Brown today because I was hard on him last week. You know, I brought in that guy from Squid Tart or whatever his name is. He's actually we're still talking. He's helping me with the Adobe Premiere because I have to do some stuff on there that I'm not used to doing. I usually edit on another platform, but so I think talking about that episode he did, it's all in good fun. Like I don't hate Neil Brown at all. I know some people do. I don't hate him at all. There was no reason to hate him. I hate losing. I hate that our program went down in the dumps under his tenure, according to a lot of people. Like there was a topic on one of the Big 12 squad shows we did where we were talking about it off camera, and sorry guys, seems like my internet connection must be bad today. In the Big 12. Let's go to break really quick, guys. We'll come right back and we'll finish off the episode. We'll be right back. All right. I don't know what's going on with this. Can everybody see me? I need some feedback from you guys. Sorry about this. But I don't know. We've got a lot of wind going on outside, but unfortunately I'm having a lot of video issues. It's showing me like I'm stuttering and spinning, and now my connection's gone back up. I'm really curious as to why this is all happening all of a sudden, but somebody in the chat give me some. I mean, it says there's 200 people watching. I'm coming through okay? All right. Well, it's telling me on my side that it's really strange, but it's sorry about all this, guys. I have no idea why this is happening. Other than the internet connection, it's sometimes you just can't control that. So I guess I better jump off of here while we still can. Thank you guys for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. I will talk to you guys on the next one when we do another topic here in just a little bit. I'm out.